giant sheep. Imagine. Earth was one landmass, I was first. I touched on rights from birth, I'm not cursed. Still one landmass, I reach Atlantis. Fell in an abyss, now the first land split. Abyssinia, let's make sense, don't forget. Still one landmass was Kush and Kemet. Branching south and north, east and west. Some stayed the path, some strayed in experiments. A few ciphered, and many deciphered. Cracking sacred generic codes, creating a hybrid. By the time we reached Asia, Nor and Asia saw Kemet fell and made the custodians Moors. You're probably asking what happened to Kush. Into Kemet is where he got pushed. Pyramids of Egypt show our greatness. Put ourselves on the wall so you can't debate this. Back on course, since I navigate giftly. Moors took the Nile back home to the Mississippi. Some took the knowledge over centuries shared with Spain. Thought they would see Northwest a maximum gain. By this time the great earthquake shifted earth plates. And Havre say Europe is their birthplace. When we had Europe, the mountains caucus. Evil scientists and politics have meetings caucus. Imagine what you thought real was fake. Imagine what you thought true was a lie. Imagine what you thought real was fake. That's chemtrails, not clouds in the sky. Imagine what you thought real was fake. Imagine what you thought true was a lie. Imagine what you thought real was fake. That's chemtrails, not clouds in the sky. A Moor is a black person, especially Negro, who claimed Jesus, son of God, under a steeple. Moors are Moabites, so was Ruth. Jesus' great-great-grandmother is Ruth. Jesus is a Moabite too, so he was a Moor. Circle 7 was the 5 fish and 2 bread they saw. Buddha is a mind state caused by the mudra. Kali Yuga is the magic of the Kama Sutra. Spirit mother, black sons of God and man. Our niggas on the block with the Glock in hand. Niggas are the Nagas of Angkor Wat. When we lived abundant with bank or not. Here is where we enter new evidence of how the Satan rules, creating current events. Broke the Albion, were the creators. Evil scientists that look just like us. Lost their pigmentation, didn't lose the knowledge. Infiltrated the hybrid seed to abolish. It's all in your blood, many watch faces and skin color. Misnomers, classify races. A few learned a lesson, many chose to stay. The rest are just pawns in this global game of commerce. They reverse, we are verse. Fake Adams that stole the lessons get dually cursed. Imagine what you thought real was fake. Imagine what you thought true was a lie. Imagine what you thought high was low. Imagine what you thought fast was. Imagine what you thought real was fake. Imagine what you thought true was a lie. Imagine what you thought high was low. Imagine what you thought fast was. Put it all together, I have more as science. You have blind faith in the story of tyrants. See my fez on me and call me a shriner. When his tassel is tapped down, I'm flowing like minor. Hiding in a lodge called Arabic names. Unabridged definition of Arab is my claim. When you say a white man did it, you mean yourself to the ethers. And the nations know you don't know yourself and keep us in subjugation. Always retaliation against the wrong enemy and got the wrong remedy. Pulse racing from false education, appearing real with no qualification. You took your knowledge and now you act like a pagan. Worshipping men and rabbits egg laying. It's crazy, will only faze me if I'm lazy. Stay focused on the youth and maybe monkey wrench the plan with thought power. Time is an illusion, Babylon is down in short hours. If Zion is like the Matrix, it's going down too. Agents against Ra get backed in corners like coons. Swing and miss, knock down all your wickets. Rapping words, speaking pro say, I hear crickets. Screw face your brother, but watch the judges faceless. You created them, and now you're nationless. Imagine what you thought real was fake. Imagine what you thought true was a lie. Imagine what you thought high was low. Imagine what you thought fast was.
Islam Moors. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. I'm going on some of your friends today to love these niggers so much. Love these niggas. I'm gonna make your friends the beating stick today.
when we talk about buck breaking, we have to understand that buck breaking is a show of power, it's a show of dominance. So we can't talk about buck breaking without talking about power.
When we look at the domination of black people by the dominant society, what we are in essence seeing is that this society wants to ensure that we are not able to actually mete out that thing that makes humans exist, and that is creating families and procreating.
See, psychologically, when we're talking about the sexualizing of our people, primarily from the dominant society of the system of white supremacy, it had to be established in a very impinging way from the mental state.
This whole notion that masculinity is somehow toxic and detrimental to society is nothing but an attempt to emasculate.
Understand that buck breaking is a show of power, it's a show of dominance. So we can't talk about buck breaking without talking about power.
When we look at the domination of black people by the dominant society,
As soon as they say black people, they're disqualified. As soon as they say black people, they put our people under the classification of the brute. B-R-U-T-E. I'm going to tell you about the brute. They didn't give you the background of the brute of slavery. Let's go to the brute. Let's go to the Jim Crow. Let's go to the Jim Crow Museum website. Let's go to the Jim Crow Museum. See what's going on here. The brute caricature portrays black men, right? So they're letting you know which men they're talking about. They're not talking about Moorish men. They're not talking about Egyptian men. They're not talking about Senegalese men and Congolese men and all that stuff. They're talking about black men. You want to be black? Highwaymen came out, told these people, we only kill black people. Right? You watch the news. We only kill black people. You still want to be black? These people are still pushing black on you? When they're coming out their face admitting that they only kill black people. And go check the record. Amadou Diallo, he's a national from another nation. They shot him up because they thought he was black. Go check the record. Since you want to play you're black and you don't want anything to do with Moors, okay, no problem. We're going to ride with you. You're black? All right. We're going to ride with you. The brute caricature portrays black men as innately savage, animalistic, destructive, and criminal, deserving punishment, maybe death. This brute is a fiend, a sociopath, an antisocial menace. Black brutes are depicted as hideous, terrifying predators who target helpless victims, especially white women. Charles H. Smith, writing in the 1890s, claimed, "A bad Negro is the most horrible creature upon the earth, the most brutal and merciless." Clifton R. Breckinridge, a contemporary of Smith's, said of the black race, "When it produces a brute, he is the worst and the most insatiate brute that exists in human form." No wonder they have to buck break you. Because the brute is a beast of the field. The Negro is a beast of the field. Has nothing to do with the human family, has nothing to do with people, has nothing to do with human beings, has nothing to do with he, she, and all that. It's a beast of the field. It's a beast. And everybody knows that it's a beast. But here go your nigger leaders convincing you to stay in the beast status, knowing that this is how these people think of the beast. And only the beast, they think about this. You can't say that. They're talking about all our people. Oh yeah? we're talking about buck breaking, right? And then buck breaking has to do with breaking in a horse, right? For people who, Islam to all the horse riders out there who know about breaking in horses. Why are they comparing the people to a horse? Why are they doing to them what they do to horses? Because they're racist? No, because a Negro is a beast of the field. And beasts of the field get beasts of the field treatment. You're not bringing the horse inside, sit at the table and have dinner. No one is bringing the horse in the house. You set the table for the horse to come eat something. It's a beast of the field. You throw the hay down and it's going to eat when it's ready to eat. Put the water there, it's going to drink whenever it wants to drink. Don't waste your time with trying to convince a brute that there's something else. Because they've accepted that position, that they're that. What our people need to realize is that you have nigger leaders that are telling you stay in that position of the brute. Why they want you to stay in the position of the brute? Why don't they give you some higher things to waste your time on? Why they keep playing this game with you as if they don't know what they're doing? And then you're not recognizing that obviously they know if they're calling you the name of the beast of the field. And then you're getting beast of the field treatment because these people who you never speak up against end up talking on your behalf and putting you in the jurisdiction of the brute to get the brute treatment. George T. Winston, 1901, another Negro-phobic writer, claimed, when a knock is heard at the door, a white woman shudders with nameless horror. The black brute is lurking in the dark, a monstrous beast crazed with lust. His ferocity is almost demoniacal. A mad bull or tiger could scarcely be more brutal. A whole community is frenzied with horror, with the blind and furious rage for vengeance. Now, she wasn't shuddering in horror in the barn getting back shots by Toby. When Master went to go do whatever, and then she used to go to the barn to go get the African mandingo. Debbie does all the slaves. There's no talking up. They're not bringing that up. Because they already know that European women are down with the African mandingo. They know what's up. They don't want toothpick guy. They don't want toothpick guy. They want the monstrous beast crazed with lust. That's what they're looking for. Like, that's what they want. They don't want their little man. They want the slave guy. They want Shaq. They don't want Larry Bird. And they know they want Shaq too. And you find out who's crazed with lust. Now, keep in mind that when we talk about this idea of the Negro being portrayed as the evil, and all the negative stuff, that's real. That's real. Because the Negro is a beast of the field. And the Negro deserves to get buck breaking. Deserves it. Why? Because it's a beast of the field. It's a savage. Why would you want to be a savage? Why would they put out there, yeah, the European is doing all this stuff to our people and buck breaking them and all that stuff, and never once did they say, well, keep in mind, we're not bucks. We're not slaves. We're not people who should be buck breaking. They're taking the buck breaking position and complaining about being buck broken. That's like the crabs in the bucket people claiming they're a crab. And then they never thought, hey, how about we not be crabs so that way we don't have to deal with the crab in the bucket syndrome? How about just don't be a crab? Because only crabs do that. Especially if you're a human being and all that stuff. Why would you compare yourself to crabs? That's where they're trying to go. Convince you that the black peril, convince you that you are something that you're not. Now again, we're talking about buck breaking, which has to do with animals and stuff like that, right? Let's just see what's going on here. Origins of the hackamore. Origins of the hackamore. The Moors were predominantly a mounted cavalry force and were thoroughly routed by the Franks. This was the beginning of the end of their expansion into Europe and the beginning of their expulsion from Iberia. Their success had been rapid, and it had undoubtedly been down to their expert knowledge of horsemanship and its control, which exemplified their extreme fighting mobility. The fact has been recognized and envied by the Franks, and it presented a secret equestrian knowledge, which undoubtedly was a world-changing event. The Moors' rule in Iberia finally ended in 1492, and in 1521, a Spanish conquistador, Hernan Cortez, in turn with his superior knowledge of horsemanship, ended the Aztec civilization in Mexico with only 15 horses. Charles Martel was not a king. He was a mayor who was employed by the king of the Franks to run the country. Charles was an extremely educated individual, and his ability to visualize the future or indeed understand the lessons of the past. He did something very unusual and unexpected after his encounter with the Moors at the Battle of Tours, seeing that he had just won the battle with infantry against a cavalry. And it was that he had his army diligently collect all the Moors' horses, tack and armor together, and within 3 years he had a superior cavalry force of his own. To this, it's interesting to understand, geologists and historians today do not mention the hackamore and its use as a horse training device as being the most important artifact that Charles must have collected after his battle. To this they are ignorant, and this is why it represents a secret in plain sight, and it's easy for me as a horseman to imagine him interrogating his Moorish prisoners after this battle about what was the secret of their superior horsemanship, and being told that it lay in the use of the hackamore to train horses. The hackamore was a superior communication device that could trigger a passive symbiosis between man and horse of unbelievable power. The event was the start of the feudal system, which supported the medieval chivalrous culture in Europe. And the feudal system was in reality a form of government, which was a community agricultural effort to support a mounted fighter to protect the state. Sounds like right to bear something to you? Right to have somebody protect your state? Remember, this is Charles Martel and all that stuff they're talking about. This is not 1700s Ferdinand and Isabella. 1700s with U.S. corpse. This is not over here they're talking about. No, well, over there. Interestingly, most people today think of chivalry as being a medieval mindset or a moral code of honor in battle and a reverence to the protection of women. Sadly, in reality, it was the French word for horse, which is cheval. Undoubtedly, the equine culture of the Moors left behind was very quickly adopted all across Europe. And I feel certain the way they trained horses had, by the time the first conquistador transported their horses into South America, that the training of horses with a hackamore for the eventual transition into a spade bit had already turned into a considerable art form. So, if these Europeans who are buck-breaking black guys, and then buck-breaking has to do with horses, and then all these Europeans are actually using the Moorish mastery of horsemanship on these people, wouldn't that mean that they're using more stuff against themselves? No different than you see the KKK guys running around and the black guys saying, oh my God, the KKK is coming, oh my gosh, they're gonna lynch niggers and all this stuff, when they're dressing like Moors? So they're dressing like Moors. They're dressing like Moors. They're using Moors' horse-rearing tactics. And then they're using that against people who are really unconscious Moors, because they don't want to be free. Because Constitution said that you're free, but they don't want to be free. They want to play nigger. They want to play beasts of the field and get buck broken. And then want to complain about being buck broken when they took that position up. And the Europeans took this position from the Moors, who used this stuff to break horses in. They use this stuff to break in horses. And then some Europeans are using it on people. Then people don't realize that, hey, hold on a second, you're using our stuff on us. That's our horse rearing stuff. That's not yours. Oh yeah, niggers don't read. That's why they don't know. Niggas want to play. Niggas want to play games with people's intelligence. You know, I play games with my intelligence because I study. People playing games with you. Playing games with your stuff. and then are using it against you. Not even using it on the horse. The horse is in the field running wild. Horse in the field running wild. But then you got a saddle on you. Or you got the saddle on you. How come you got the saddle on you? I thought you're the founders of civilization and stuff like that. Why are you wearing a saddle? You got a girdle on. Another European riding you. Yeah, and how come I have to be Rami? I don't want to be Rami. I want to be Jamal. Let Jamal be Rami. I don't want to be Rami. How come I have to be Rami? I want to be damn Rami. What the hell am I here for? Switch it around. Switch the thing around. I'm not being Rami. That's not fair. That's not fair. Hold on, let me check this chat. These people talking crazy. All this was going on. I'm missing this. Plot twist. I'm not Robbie. How's that a plot twist for your ass? I'm not no goddamn Robbie. No way. You be Robbie.
What we are in essence seeing is that this society wants to ensure that we are not able to actually mete out that thing that makes humans exist. And that is creating families and procreating.
See, psychologically, when we're talking about the sexualizing of our people, primarily from the dominant society or the system of white supremacy, it had to be established in a very impinging way from the mental state.
This whole notion that masculinity is somehow toxic and detrimental to society is nothing but an attempt to emasculate black malehood.
It's clearly an agenda. If you have two eyes in your head and you're able to see, you can see that it's an agenda, and it's an agenda to decrease our population.
It's always been about destroying the black family. The family is the foundation of it.
The family's black, it's destroyed already. If the family's black, the family's already destroyed. How come they don't tell you that part? I thought Dane Calloway told you guys black means death. How come they ride with Dane Calloway, but they're not gonna ride with black means death? They're not gonna ride with that? And how come men are gonna talk crazy in the chat, but then not just push the button? How come they're not gonna push the button? How come they're just gonna talk crazy in the chat and not push the button? They're so manly. How come you're getting buck broken in like a punk? Yeah? Getting buck broken in like a punk? You got nerve to talk about Moors? People got some nerve talking about Moors when you're getting buck broken in. Moors weren't around when you guys were getting buck broken in. Where were y'all at? All you black whoever's. When you were on the plantation, how come you were there? How you end up on the plantation when Moors are free? Matter of fact, let's just check this thing. Hold on a second, because you were talking crazy. Like people weren't getting out of slavery or something. Let's just see what's going on here. Hold on a second. So, Mama Elizabeth Freeman was determined to gain her freedom. Right, this is a slave, somebody who was on the plantation or whatever, right? She's on the plantation. Her master, Colonel Ashley, was a wealthy citizen of Sheffield, Massachusetts. He served as a judge of the Berkshire Court of Common Pleas. In January 1773, he moderated the local committee that wrote the Sheffield Declaration. The declaration was approved on January 12, 1773. It stated that mankind in a state of nature are equal, free, and independent of each other, and have a right to the undisturbed enjoyment of their lives, their liberty, and their property. The same language was used in the United States Declaration of Independence of 1776 and in the Massachusetts Constitution of 1780. Evidence suggests that Bet overheard these ideas when Colonel Ashley held events in his home and when the documents were read aloud in the public square. Seeking freedom, Bet turned to Theodore Sedgwick, a prominent attorney who helped draft the Sheffield Doctrine with Colonel Ashley. Bet, along with an enslaved man named Brom, began the process of fighting for their freedom. Historians note that Sedgwick, along with many of the lawyers in the area, decided to use the case as a test case to determine if slavery was constitutional under the Massachusetts Constitution. In May of 1781, Sedgwick and his team filed a document called a writ of replevin. Make sure you go look that up. With the Berkshire Court of Common Pleas. This document ordered Colonel Ashley to release Bet and Brom. The Berkshire Court stated that Bet and Brom were not Ashley's legitimate property. However, he refused to release them from his possession. By August 1781, the case went to the County Court of Common Pleas of Great Barrington, in the case known as Brom and Bet versus Ashley. During the case, Sedgwick argued that the Massachusetts Constitution outlawed slavery. The jury agreed with Sedgwick and decided that Bet and Brom were not Ashley's property. Bet and Brom were set free and awarded 30 shillings and the cost of the trial. Ashley filed an appeal to the Supreme Judicial Court, but dropped his case a few months later. His decision was likely informed by the Quock-Walker trials that declared slavery incompatible with the new Massachusetts Constitution. Once she gained her freedom, Mom Bet changed her name to Elizabeth Freeman. Now, if these two slaves, Brom and Bet, could be, cleaning up all the master's BS, and then they happen to hear, all men are equal and free. All men are equal and free? The hell's that from? You ever heard about that before, Brom? No, I never heard about that, man. We needs to go see if this is legit or not. Because if we's free, why's we here working for Ashley? You need to go down to the town hall and see if this is posted in a notice. Maybe they got the Constitution lying around the wall or something for the. And he goes down to the town hall or whatever. And stuff's posted everywhere. Slavery's abolished. Everybody's free or whatever. Okay. So, why are we still playing nigger? Why are we still playing nigger, slave? If all we have to do is enforce the Constitution. Now, if these people were enforcing the Constitution in the 1700s, then Drew Ali came in the 1900s and started telling you the same stuff that they're talking about. They didn't say free them and send them back to Africa or nothing like that. How come they didn't say send me back to Africa? How come they were slaves, right? They were slaves. And then because they were slaves, they wanted freedom. And all they did was say they don't want to be a nigger. I'm Elizabeth Freeman. I'm not Mom Bet. What's Mom Bet? What is that? I'm not Brahm. What's Brahm? How did I even get this name, Brahm? That's not even my name. Hey, Mammy. I know I wasn't supposed to be listening when the master's having the meeting with the other masters. But the master said, the Constitution said we's free. Nah, we don't want to be free. We're just going to stay here on the plantation because, you know what I mean, we don't want to ruffle the feathers of the master because look what they did to him over there and he's on the tree and we don't want to get off of this. We're just going to stay here. Yeah. All right. If slaves are that dumb, they deserve to be enslaved. If slaves didn't have the mindset of Elizabeth Freeman and everybody who did exactly what she did. Oh, go, you're a lawyer guy. Come here, lawyer guy. I heard the slaves are free. So how come we're still in slavery? Obviously, majority is Europeans. They already know what's up. That's wrong and stuff like that. Shouldn't be doing that. It's not some across the board, all these Europeans are racist. That's a mindset of a bunch of Europeans. A bunch of Europeans. It's not how they think across the board. Because matter of fact, since we're talking about Europeans, let's put this on the record. This one that's going to be in our upcoming paper. Right? Remember that as the Moors, we have been absolutely honored, not because of anything other than we know who we are. We know who we are. Right? This is the Europeans' perspective when they come in contact with Moors. The exact date of the first encounter to note is February 3rd, 2021. We as Moorish American Muslims were given keys that Noble Drew Ali prepared for us for intense review. Within the Circle 7 Quran, it delved on maintaining pure temple, and with that being said, my choice of foods and minerals are only located in specific stores and locations. I had to take a trip down to the Goodness Me to purchase spirulina and chlorella. In a time that we are now in, with so much coronavirus, a lot of people are skeptical of engaging or even going near anybody they don't know. What I can say from a Moorish perspective is that's when we are fezzed and turban donning, it's almost as if there is a mystical feeling of guidance and protection in the room. And then all of a sudden, certain ones that know what the fez represents feels a sense of urgency to get closer to our aura, as if they feel the vibration we emit as Moors from honoring our ancestors. A particular individual that couldn't help herself most definitely was a woman from a foreign place called Serbia. The first initial engagement with Serbia was one filled with the smiling then laughing. I was in line checking out my 2 purchases when the woman from Serbia came directly behind me with the same laughing and giggling going on, which didn't budge me. As I was moving closer to checkout, I felt a tap on my shoulder from the same lady from Serbia who didn't stop laughing. After I felt the nudge, I turned around to her to say to me, all while laughing, "You know you're wearing a fez? Where are you from? Because back home in Serbia, I seen them growing up." I wasn't surprised by her remark, gave her a smile and told her I'm from over here, Morocco. She laughed again and told me out of her years living in quote-unquote Canada that she's very surprised to know that there are Moors over here wearing fezzes. And it gave her so much joy to tell me that she is very lucky to have run into me, the Moor. At this point, it was my turn to check out my items. But before I went up to the cashier, she told me that her husband wears a fez, and it looked nothing like mine. She was indicating to me that my black fez didn't look like her husband's burgundy fez. She well wished me while laughing uncontrollably. In shock, there are Moors wearing fezzes and turbans dwelling near the territory that she calls home. It's important to note here that this particular mother from Serbia stated that she is in her 80s, almost 90. And her whole entire life never ran into a true free Moorish American wearing a fez. Find me some Negro who had that happen to them. Bet you can't. Pretty sure you can't find me one individual that their experience with a European was what you just heard. You know what their experience with Europeans is? Let's play it for you. This is all they know.
People.
The heterosexual black male is last on the pecking order here in America.
Why? Because he's black. That's why he's last in the pecking order. He's not last in the pecking order because he's dumb, because he's stupid. He's not last in the pecking order because he doesn't have what it takes to be the man. He's not last in the pecking order for anything other than the fact that you call yourself a it. And if you call yourself a it, then nothing applies to you that applies to human beings. Period. That's it. As soon as you say black, you just casted yourself into what you're complaining about. Sit back.
If you're just a heterosexual black man, how are you gonna beat the case?
Because when you show up to court, when you show up to the job interview, when you show up to wherever, you coming in here as a heterosexual black man, you have no power. When Mark Twain can...
Yeah, because you're black. Went to the slave interview. Went to the slave interview. Slave master said, we noticed that you didn't check black on the application. Like, how come you put other? Well, when I look at myself, I'm brown, and you didn't have brown on the list. So, can't pick black. I'm not black, I'm brown. All right. See you on Monday or whatever like that. You know, you start 8 a.m. And that was the interview. That's the interview. Just like that. Most people out here talking about it, 50 interviews, they didn't get the job. Then start talking about the white man did something. No, it wasn't. It was you, your status. Claiming you're black. You can't be black. That's a fiction. Just like America can't be a country. That's a fiction. America's a continent. Anybody who's telling you America's a country, they're incompetent. Because America's not a country. America's a continent. Matter of fact, America's 3 continents. And some islands. And this is the black mindset that has stuff all upside down, back to front. They got the tag on the front of their shirt or whatever like that, talking about let's go to meet the president. Let's go meet the prime minister. Where we're gonna put the tags on the front of our shirt, backwards, inside out. You have your shirt inside out with the tag on the front, and the buttons in the back. Talking about have some relations with somebody in the world. Nobody want to mess with you. You gotta put on your shirt right. You probably don't even have socks on. Barefooted with shoes. Talking crazy. You got barefoot shoes. You're the guy with the shoes that everybody used to say, hey, you keep your shoes on. Don't even take your shoes off. Just keep your shoes on. Because we don't want to know. We don't want any of that releasing.
Infested, we white people ground the manhood out of the Negro. Why ground the manhood out of the Negro? Because it's black masculinity.
Hey, there's again. Oh yeah, let's pull them up. The clean face guys, the Muslims with no beards. Pull them up.
Put out of the Negro. Because it's black masculinity.
Right? Remember they killed El Hajj. Remember they killed El Hajj. That's why they're big as they are right now. You play all your little BS games with those people who like to placate with you and give honors to Elijah Muhammad and all that stuff. We don't give honors to traitors. Sorry. Pedophiles? Isn't that what he was complaining about? What was El Hajj complaining about with Elijah Muhammad? What was he complaining about? Did he redact anything? What was he complaining about? Huh? What was El Hajj complaining about with the Nation of Islam before he left? Anybody? What was he complaining about? Why was he mad with Elijah Muhammad? Oh. Okay. Girls, right? Not women, right? Girls, right? That's what we heard. Girls? Okay. And then when people do casting couch stuff like that to adults today, they stand up against that, right? Like if some European lady has some pervert European guy trying to give them the job at the firm for the whatever, and they play your interviews in the hotel room, they're gonna go complain, right? They're adults. So then how come somebody's gonna talk up about, I got 20 wives that are 15 or whatever, something's wrong with that? Nah, that's the Islamic way of how we do stuff around here and all that. And then you're expecting somebody to respect your position? You're a beast of the field if you let children get touched. You're a beast. They killed that man. Just like we know Moors killed Noble Drew Ali. Ain't no Chicago police touching Noble Drew Ali. What are you talking about? For what? No problem. Liberating the people's not there's not no check in that. You get paid for liberating the people. You'd have 5 mansions and all that stuff because you liberated the people. Obviously you're with the money changers. You're with the same people who Yahshua kicked out the church at 12 when he was a teen, seeing people getting touched in there. And they're making finance off it. Turn over all those tables. And all of them knew. All of them knew what they were doing. That's why Drew Ali even said, if my mom's not right, she's not even getting by. Nobody's getting passes. Because all the excuses got taken away. So there's no excuses. No idea how old the Prophet's second wife was, because ain't no information on that. Everything before 1930 is redacted. All they want people to know is Drew Ali dying and everything moving forward from that. And if we're gonna say F Drew Ali because he had a wife at 16 or 15 or 14 or whatever like that, this still doesn't cancel out, because when we look at the teachings, Elijah Muhammad still went and started telling people that they're black and all that stuff instead of teaching the truth, regardless of what the man does. If we go with the info Forget the man. The personage. What's the lesson say? If we're going to say everybody back then, who knows? Garvey could have had some children as his wife. And then we excommunicate him too. Then we go check his stuff. He's talking about people are Negroes. So he doesn't even get the pass. Right? Because we already know if we go back to our culture, 13 is when you're adult. If you're a 13 adult, then 16 is 3 years in. 13 adult, 14 is 1 year in. And Solomon and all of them had children as their wife. 13, 14, 15, and we give honors to all of them. So we're going to excommunicate all of them all? All right. Excommunicate all of them. Noble Drawley included. If we're going to say 13 is not the number, 21 is, but then that's European psychology because we already know 21 it is. What are you talking about? You already know rites of passage starts when you get of age. But, so either way we go, Noble Drawley's still coming out on the side that, he at least told us that we're Moors and what our nationality was and all that stuff with his 16-year-old wife and whatever. He didn't stay away from the teachings that the people are supposed to need for the salvation. He didn't walk away from it. With his 16-year-old wife. Still told us that we're Moors. But then these other people, they got a 16-year-old wife, and they're murdering their own brother, and they're getting paid for it, and they're keeping the prison industrial complex going, and they got the biggest whatever, and their people have nothing, and they have the flyest whatever, and their people have nothing, and somebody has to get called out. You can't call the prophet because he already showed that he's repping for at least the nation. If we get rid of the man, if we get rid of the personalities, and everybody, including Noble Drawley, gets a big black X over them because they're just a man. Okay, so now we have to go to their lessons then. What were they teaching? Because if we were looking at them as something because they were a man, and now we find out that, oh my God, they used to dress like trannies or whatever, all right, then whatever, as far as your personage that you present, is out the window. Because we know that man is spirit, not the flesh. So if man is spirit, not the flesh, then whatever the flesh is doing, that has nothing to do with anything. Whatever the flesh is doing. Which is why Noble Drawley can say, European's going to be your fellow man and treat him nice when you get on top and all that stuff. Because it's not about some vengeance against them or against women or whatever. So people get into the fact, the only people in the world who don't know what's going on, everybody else in the world knows what's going on, and the only people who don't know is the Negro black colored people in America. And they're convinced of everything else except their nationality and the birthrights. And absolutely corrupt what this is about. Because all these people had nationality cards and all of that. They had fezzes on, they were L's and B's and all that. And to turn around from this for their selfish self and not give the people their birthrights is absolutely positively criminal. And no honors are bestowed. Like, no honors are bestowed. Because everything else is a distraction if you're not telling me about that. If you know it's birthrights, and then we're talking about all this other stuff over here, and we're not talking about birthrights at all, then there's no chance. There's no chance. So, because it all comes down to if they knew about their nationality birthrights and all that, they wouldn't be even in certain situations that have them all messed up. It wouldn't even happen. Just because of knowing about birthrights. You know what stuff I would have did different if I knew about birthrights? Even as a child. Decisions I made as a child, I know if I had birthrights, that would not be the choice I would make. Like that, all this is about getting us out of not being the break buckers. Grow up. Time to take some responsibility. And stop excusing our behavior. That's doing nothing for the nation. Just doing for their selfish self, get views and get likes and get hearts and all this. Because they can't do that at the lecture anymore. They got to do that online. So that's all that it's about. No different than when they said, well, yeah, we're going to change this rule and change that rule and change that rule. And then people are looking at basketball today talking about people are the best. People aren't the best. People aren't the best in sports right now. There's no elite class. Everybody's in it. Everybody's the best. Everybody's the best. That's why I said the priesthood is dead. And you better fend for yourself. You gotta figure your stuff out. No Jolly is the only one that gets honors. And if we're not talking about the man, then we're talking about the lessons. And the lessons that he brought is the only lessons. Everything else is about keeping you buck broken. And not being a man and woman and standing up. And being Moors, being your ancient foremothers and forefathers. You're being associations and organizations. And want to know how come your conditions aren't changing. Going out and being an it again. Because somebody said we got the organization that's going to do whatever for the people. And then no talk of nationality whatsoever. When everybody else around you has a nationality though. And they're prosperous. And they have everything they want. Then these certain people in North America who say they come from somewhere else and don't know who they are. And they got 50 billion different flags saying that that's who they are. They don't get it.
It's black masculinity that most exposes the fraud of white masculinity. We, as the progenitors of culture, the ones who are the fathers and mothers of civilizations, who taught all people, who people look to for social cues, whether they want to realize it or not, I think they feel if they can get us to adapt to it, they can get everybody to adapt to it.
If anybody should have a problem with European males, it should be the European female.
No, how come you didn't say white man? How come they're not riding with Dr. Kabahai Owatha all the way? Because he knows that he's a Moor and all that. Not just African only. Not just black Indian only. He knows he's Moor. How come you didn't say white man? If they're saying black people and black man and all that stuff, all the other people, then he should be saying white man. If he's not saying white man, you know, ask yourself, how come he's not saying white man? And everybody else is talking black. Everybody else talking white supremacy. Right? White masculinity. But this one teacher called these people Europeans. And then gone over your head because you're looking at the personages. And all these people on here, they have their stuff. They have their dirt. What's the message? I already told you. Not all skin folk are kinfolk. And our biggest problem is not some Europeans. They have their own problems, which is what he's telling you in this little thing right here. Right?
To adapt to. If anybody should have a problem with European males, it should be the European female. Because everything the European male has ever learned to do to us, he first practiced on his own woman.
We need resources in education. We need resources in labor. We need resources in politics.
But what do you mean you need resources and whatever people have finance to their ear? Got the whole room finance all over the place or whatever like that. You can't figure this stuff out? You got on Forbes list, you can't figure this stuff out? You tell all the black guys on Forbes list couldn't come together and say, hey, you know what? We got enough finance that we can solve everybody's problems right now. Give Black Wall Street a power generator so that their Tesla stuff, so their stuff could last forever from the sun and all that. And you're not. You really missing it. You're really missing it. There are people right now who are gonna buy whatever, some madness, and not put that to something that is actually beneficial to them right now. Or convert it to something else that's more valuable. Because of the mindset. And until we correct that, this stuff is over. For those who are playing in it, in that realm, you know. Because as Moors, we already know that man is spirit, not the flesh. Anything happening in the flesh is just part of the experience for the soul. Existing on the earth plane. Just one level of the existence. You think this is something? You ain't see nothing yet. You think this is something? You got a robot dog, you're excited? They did something. They split the atom, they did something. What they did was a sorcery on our people, these Negroes in America who don't know themselves. If you want to say they did something, now that's something that they did. Got our people to not be themselves, be everything else except themselves, while everybody else is being themselves around them. And then these people don't see it, that they're not being themselves, while everybody else around them is being their self. That's some stuff. The check seal, they did that. Forget some buck breaking. How they get you to even think that you're the buck? What kind of magic did they do to get you to think that you are a crab in a bucket and you're just pulling each other down? And then when you look at, you know what I mean, even if you just look at, you know what I mean, the drug game, the guy trying to get to the top, kill people and all that stuff because he wants to be the man. That's crab in the bucket. How you end up being a crab? That's the question. Thought your founders built pyramids and all that stuff. How you a buck getting broken in? Where do you turn where you're not supposed to turn? As they follow the map. Well, I'm gonna just go my own way over here because I know what I want. So these people play you out of your stuff. Remember, the Moors don't have to be on this stuff going live and all that because we already got our birthright. We already have our birthright. We already know what this is. We're not confused.
We need resources in medical. We need resources in so many things, but they ignore that and they put millions and even billions of dollars to tell us that you need to really embrace your LBGT side. So these people have an agenda, and it's up to us to understand what the agenda is.
You're the buck. And they're breaking you in mentally right now. You got by yourself, you got a mask on. By yourself. By yourself. How you by yourself? And you're scared of something. Don't be a buck. It's not just some stuff we're just telling you this. We're talking from experience. And you're not going to be able to say that you weren't told. Because we told you. Just like we told you. rvbaypublications.com. Like we told you. Go there. Study there. And then you're coming back 50 other places. Yeah, I got your book. Yeah, where'd you go get that book from? Some site over there. You didn't go to khalifamedia.com? No, I just saw it online, so I just pushed the thing and then I just bought it. How much was the book? 5 million notes. Oh, you didn't think to ask any questions or anything like that? You just went and just got it. Like no question came to mind. You just 5 million for the book, so no problem. This is Cujo's book, so that must be what it is. That's the people's mindset. Study, study, study. Don't go where we didn't send you and come back complaining about what the people where you went didn't do anything for you. Because that has nothing to do with us. We didn't tell you go over there. But we're showing you that all these Negro, black, colored, whoever's telling you anything, trailer for whatever they got coming out, do not listen to these people. They're using King Alfred plan vaporization techniques in India right now. Right now. Right now they're kidnapping people, hiding people. Right now. So know that, oh yeah, the martial law is coming. No, it's here. It's been here. Where you been? Where you been? What do you mean that line? What do you mean that line? What? You know there was no seeds in that, right? You know there was no seeds in that? That didn't strike you? That didn't strike your psyche as... Like I remember growing up, cut the lime, then you're squeezing, and all you're seeing is seeds in the thing. Oh, when I was growing up. Now you're lucky you see a seed. You know, peach. You got seedless pomegranate. You see something's weird, something's off. Something must be off. And something has to be off. You can't see something's not off. And if you don't see something's off, you're in trouble. You're in real trouble. If you don't realize what has happened, you're already in trouble. Because one, your mind's gone. If you think stuff is normal. If you think it's normal to go to the dispensary to get weed, not check the weed man, stuff switched up on you and you didn't even know. You know those people who do years or whatever and then they come out and everything's different than what they thought, what they went in and it was? That's what we're going through right now out here. You know, I was talking about the Moors earlier. That if you got warrant, you might as well just go inside because there ain't nothing going on right now either. There's jails now out here. Jail in there, and there's jail out here too. Right? Guards everywhere telling you what to do, where you can't go, choking people out or whatever. That's prison. That's not life. That's not society. That's prison industrial complex. State prison. You say state prison, you think that building over there. Federal prison means that building over there. No, it doesn't. You just missed the boat. The boat left the dock and you missed it. I'm talking about jumping to the boat, grab the rail. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. Honors to all the Moors everywhere, anywhere they're at. Once you know about your nationality and your birthrights, honors to you. And then supreme honors to you if you're letting other people know about it, whether they want it or not, whether they're going to proclaim their nationality or not. They can't say you didn't show up in a fez, or you didn't show up in a turban, or you didn't show up telling them something about Moors, or wearing something Moorish to let them even see that you know something about Moors or whatever like that. Honors to you. Islam to all the Moors. Don't get buck broken. Proclaim your nationality. We're not Negro, black, colored. We're not African, we're not Indian, we're not Native American, and none of that. We're not any of these islands, we're not any of these continents or countries. We're descendants of Moors. Honors to all. Oh yeah, and honors to all mothers. Because without you, Islam